Good morning, everybody. Another edition of On the Road Again with Shaggy as we make our way to the regular day job today. We are going to talk about a topic that I saw in the news yesterday. It's just kind of hitting the mainstream outlets today. And it is about an Oregon state representative. So this is a local state house, not the federal. But she was canvassing her neighborhood and had the cops called on her. And you might think, well, that's weird. Well, I agree. It is a little bit bizarre. But here's the situation. So, Representative Janelle Bynum, B-Y-N-U-M. I don't know exactly how it's done, but I'll say Bynum. She was out going door to door, talking to constituents, She had a couple of pamphlets, a pen, and her phone, and she was taking notes as she was going door to door, asking people what they thought about various issues, and just doing as one would do when doing that type of work. Well, along comes a Clackamas County Sheriff's Office car with Officer Campbell in it. And Officer Campbell politely asked the representative, who he didn't know was a representative at that time, "What are you doing? We've had a call saying that there was a suspicious person going from house to house, typing into their phone the whole time. And, there's a suspicion that someone is casing the neighborhood." So some neighbor, some resident in this neighborhood thought that there was someone going around casing houses and taking notes about what house would be good to supposedly break into. And all because the representative, supposedly, because the representative was black. So this is not a case of DWB, driving while black. This is a case of KWB, knocking while black. I don't know what you would call it exactly. But yeah. So I will say this. Representative Janelle Bynum handled this perfectly, as did Officer Campbell. They both handled it with extreme class and with a level of professionalism that we just don't see today. All right. From all accounts, the officer was very kind and courteous and explained what the situation was, that a neighbor was just concerned and had called the police, and that he was just doing his due diligence to come out and check it out, to make sure that everything was on the up and up. And Janelle, Representative Bynum, said that she could somewhat understand the citizens' concern, given the times that we live in today, but could she possibly have the person's name so that she could go in and talk to them and reassure them that she in fact wasn't a troublemaker and that she was just merely trying to get her constituents' feedback, because that was one of her constituents that reported her. I mean, it may not be one of the people that voted for her, but it's one of the people that she represents. Her Representative Bynum's job is to represent this person. And if this person thinks that she's a potential criminal, it's her job to reach out and make a connection and to assuage that feeling. And to make herself known, because if you don't know your representative, how can they represent you? So I understand that, and like I said, I think she handled it perfectly. And the officer did, in fact, which I thought was a little weird, because normally on those types of calls, you wouldn't give the name or number. But by the time that Representative Bynum was able to, call that person, they were no longer at home, so they weren't able to meet, but she did talk to him on the phone. And, there wasn't any harsh words. This woman's name is not on social media. She isn't being called out, which I think is, like I said, another display of the representative's class. Because it would have been very easy in today's world to plaster this woman's name all over the place and say, listen, this is an example of racism in today's world. Now, I'm not saying that it isn't. I am definitely not saying that it isn't an example of racism. I'm saying it isn't an example of harsh racism. It might very well be an example of what's referred to today as casual racism, about judging what one person might be doing based upon their looks. And this is coming from a pasty white ass cracker. All right. But, you know, and I think we do make those snap judgment calls a lot. I think you have to be a person of very high moral fiber if you have never made a snap decision about somebody based upon the way they look and what they're doing and where they're at. And if you decide that it's outside of where they should be. All right. But my point here is you need to look at how this was handled. Okay. The lady was obviously in the wrong. Could she have handled this better? Well, yes, she could have handled it better. She could have gone out and she could have asked the woman, hey, out of curiosity, what are you doing? I don't know you. You don't look like you're from around here. Can I help you? You know, I'm part of the neighborhood, neighborhood watch society. You know, what are you doing? It's that personal interaction that we're scared to do anymore. You know, and whether it's because we don't know our neighbors or we're so, we'd rather do everything on Facebook so that there's no more personality to it, I don't know. But we are afraid to interact and to get a little personal with what could be a problem. And that in itself is a problem. All right, we look for Facebook justice or social media justice or whatever it is, and that can definitely go wrong because, this could have gone wrong in so many ways. What if the woman that reported this to the police didn't report it to the police, but instead took a picture of this woman out of her window, posted it on, say, a neighborhood Facebook group or whatever, and said, hey, has anyone else seen this woman stalking around the neighborhood? I think she's up to no good. What would have happened if that would have been the response this woman would have made rather than calling the police? What if she would have done that impersonal act? All right. I think it would have ended up very different for both the representative and for the woman. So we have to be very careful about what we're doing in our actions, in our responses, in everything. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect and that I've never made a snap decision. Oh no, I have. Has it always been right? Definitely not. I was reminded this morning of a video, and I will try to post the link in either the description of this video or as an attachment somehow. You'll find it from Mama Blair, because I asked if this would make a good topic for discussion. And she found a video that I think I'd seen before, but it brings the point home that there are truly more things that make us alike than there are that make us different. And, there are forces. I won't give them names because you can't. There are forces that are trying to wedge us apart every day. All right? That are trying to say, hey, it's this group versus that group. It's these people versus those people. It's this class versus that class. It's this race versus that race. It's redheads versus blondes. It's, everyone is always constantly trying to divide us. And one of the reasons why is because America is unique. America is different. America is a blending pot. All right. Right, wrong, indifferent, whatever your thoughts are on that topic, we are one today. And I think we're better off because of it. Think about food. If food only had one taste, would it be good? It would be bland. It would be lifeless. You wouldn't want to eat it. You might as well just eat porridge for the rest of your life. All right? We like food with flavor, with spice, with texture. All right? We want variety. We want those things because they make it worth eating. So if we were all the same, if everybody was exactly the same, race, creed, color, background, demographic, it would be extremely boring. I don't want to live in a world like that. I also don't want to live in a world of fear. All right. I have family that is scared of different scenarios that they think are going to happen. All right. Blood family, married family, etc. All right. They plan for things that I don't think are going to happen. And so, I tell them all the time, I'd rather live life with a little bit of risk, acceptable risk, mind you. I don't go looking for dangerous situations, than not live life at all. And that's what we have to do. All right. So next time you see someone in your neighborhood going door to door, or you see someone that you don't think maybe should be there, or that little voice in your head says, hey, what are they doing here? You go up and ask them, hey, can I help you? Be the Walmart guy. Hey, what can I help you find? Do you need something? It's not inherently bad. It gives you a little bit of spice to your life. It gets you, it gets you into the better mindset of helping instead of a negative reaction of reporting and assuming the worst. I like to assume the best. I do have a philosophy that all people are generally good. Generally. There's a few idiots, jerks, bad people out there, but they're few and far between. So in general, if I'm a good person, I'm going to go towards good people. I'm going to be around good people. Now, will there be bad people that take advantage of me because I'm a good person? Probably. But is that enough to make me stop being a good person? No, it's not. Because it's who I am, it's what I do. And it makes me feel better at the end of the day. So my final kind of closing thought for this is, Representative Janelle Bynum, you are a very good person with a great outlook on life and a wonderful attitude towards what could have been a very bad situation. And if you were in my district, which Oregon's a far cry away from Illinois, I would be very happy to have you as my representative. And Officer Campbell, you are a credit to your career. All right. We hear all the time of the negative stories of police officers, but do not be deluded. Those are the outsiders. Those are the rare occasions. There are far more Officer Campbells out there than there are the negatives. I find that all the police that I run into are willing to help. They want to help. They went into that field to help. There are a lot less tackleberries from Police Academy than there are Officer Campbells. And I'm sorry to anyone who's ran into the former and not the latter. People have teachers that change their lives. People have officers that change their lives. Sometimes, unfortunately, it's the luck of the draw which one you get. But I think both these people are incredible examples of how things should be handled. And I really hope that the citizen who reported this, takes a step back and thinks about how they could have handled it better. I think that whoever they are, they will. And they will think better next time. Because, hopefully this was a little bit of a wake-up call that you can't always judge a book by its cover, as corny as that line is. You can't always judge a situation from past experience. And that, getting involved and getting in there, getting your hands dirty and asking questions and being personally involved might be the best first step. So anyway, that is my thoughts, and I am curious as to what you think. As always, on the road again at ptrradio.com is the email address for topic suggestions, your feedback, anything else you want to send me. That's on the road again at ptrradio.com. You can like the show, like the episodes, We want you to share this stuff. I just had an episode about suicide prevention that I really want people to get out there and get the message, because it's an important topic that we want as many people as possible to know about. As always, we want every episode shared, liked, commented. So whatever you find it on Twitter, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, iTunes, Android, Stitcher. Now, evidently, if you use Plex, you can do Plex Podcasts, and you can actually find PTR Radio on Plex Podcasts. So like, share, comment, and let us know what topics you want to hear, both on the big show and this one. I'm pulling into my spot, so I will see you next time I'm on the road.